This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Luca Cairns-Trelebrate, and we got some huge news out of Buffalo, as the Bills are moving on from longtime head coach Sean McDermott. Owner Terry Pegula released a statement saying Sean has done an admirable job of leading our football team for the past 9 seasons, but I feel we are in need of new structure within our leadership to give this organization the best opportunity to take our team to the next level. We owe that to our players and to Bills Mafia. The move comes after Buffalo's latest playoff heartbreak, this time to Denver in overtime, in a game that felt like it was right there for the taking had it not been for 4 Josh Allen turnovers. But in a year that saw no Joe Burrow, Mahomes, or Lamar in the playoffs, the Bills still couldn't reach the Super Bowl, and apparently that was the last straw. McDermott leaves the Bills with the highest winning percentage in franchise history, and having reached the playoffs in 8 of his 9 seasons. But ultimately, his failure to reach the Super Bowl will be the story of his tenure. The Bills will now shift their focus to finding their next head coach, and instantly will become the most attractive head coaching vacancy, maybe aside from Baltimore? And whether it's an internal guy like Joe Brady or one of the many former coaches looking for a job, there's a ton of direction they can go in. But regardless, it's a new era in Buffalo for the Bills. We saw the first major domino fall of NHL trade season, as the Vegas Golden Knights pick up Rasmus Andersson in a deal with the Calgary Flames. Now, this is obviously a big move for both sides, but it also affects other teams around the league. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs in particular, this deal makes their trade deadline approach so much more interesting. Toronto's been in the market for another defenseman ever since Chris Tanev went down with a groin injury, but how aggressively they pursue one was the big question. As let's not forget, the Leafs are still not in a playoff spot as of today. But after this Andersson move, specifically with how much the Flames got back, it feels like the Leafs might be priced out of the top D-men on the market, especially because they have just 3 picks in the upcoming draft, none of which being first or second rounders. So unless you're willing to trade a top prospect like Easton Cowan or Ben Danford, how do you approach this looming deadline? It'll probably have to be something cheap. And maybe that's another reunion with Luke Schenn, who at 36 and on a struggling Jets team shouldn't cost a fortune. But is that really the type of trade that's going to get the Leafs season back on track? I don't think that moves the needle for me. I think they've needed another top 4 to top 2 defenseman for a long time now, and if Luke Schenn is the big move, I'd be pretty disappointed in the direction of the team for the rest of the season, especially considering you're not in a playoff spot right now. Either way, the Leafs and their pursuit of a defenseman will be something to keep an eye on in the coming weeks. After a fascinating 2025 season, college football ends tonight with the national championship between Indiana and Miami. Unbeaten Indiana come in looking for their first natty, and their post-regular season road to today has been quite a breeze. Aside from a close win against Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship, tonight's a homecoming of sorts for Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. The Heisman Trophy winner grew up in Miami. And fun fact, he lived less than a mile away from Hard Rock Stadium. It's been quite a showing for Mendoza. In his last 2 games, he's thrown more touchdown passes than incompletions. Yeah, that's nuts. This guy kind of came out of nowhere along with this entire Indiana team, and it's been the story of the football season, so shout out to Mendoza. I think Miami shocked everyone when they knocked off the defending and reigning champion Ohio State Buckeyes in the Cotton Bowl, but the 5-time Natty champs have a tall task tonight against Indiana. And our friends at FanDuel actually have Indiana as 7.5-point favorites. And you better believe we here at TSN have you covered tonight. It's the national championship, and it begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. A few deals in the NHL to talk about, including the Canucks, who have traded Kiefer Sherwood to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Cole Clayton and 2 draft picks. Sherwood was number 1 on TSN's trade bait board. And like we mentioned earlier, the Flames sent Rasmus Andersson to the Golden Knights over the weekend in exchange for Zach Whitecloud, a prospect, and 2 draft picks. For Calgary, it's hard to say whether they got enough in return, as we really won't know for a few years. But for Vegas, this seems like a massive get, as Andersson was enjoying a great season with the Flames. In 48 games, he had 10 goals and 30 points. He also averaged over 24 minutes of ice time per game. Vegas, they did it again. I can't believe that, I don't know why I can't believe it, but I just can't believe that every player that's available for trade, they end up in Vegas. So with Andersson and Sherwood off the TSN trade bait board, here's what the updated list looks like. And remember, with nearly a 3-week Olympic roster freeze coming in February, the early deals might not be done. So one of the 3 Flames that were in the top 10 is off the board, leaving Nazem Kadri and Blake Coldman. Both players could be valuable pickups for contenders. Not only do they have a combined 3 Stanley Cups between the two of them, they've also had decent seasons for the Flames. Pierre LeBrun reported last week that the Montreal Canadiens are one of few teams interested in Blake Coleman, so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds here in the next couple of weeks as we head into the Olympic break. That's all for today. I'll see you right back here tomorrow at 3 Eastern, New Pacific. Have a great day.